Where are you?
Hey guys, hello. Hi Manychatters. We are in our third episode or fourth episode, Molly.
Third.
Awesome. It's our third episode and I'm in Austin at the Fairmont.
What is happening at the Fairmont?
Everything is happening at the Actually, right now there's nothing happening here, thank God. But our conference, Conversations 2019, is going to happen right here in Austin, September 13th or 15th. This is where the welcome party is going to be. It is fancy, y'all. Fancy. Like, I'm from Austin, and this is fancy for Austin. I'm really excited to just be here on site. We're going to have over 2,000 marketers and agencies and small businesses coming together to share knowledge, to network. And we're going to have a huge party, y'all. Like, huge. Like, probably the biggest party in Austin that night.
Probably this year. And I heard that Mckenzie Lieberman is even going to be there. Is that true?
Oh, yes. And she's going to tell you herself today at the show. And I'm so excited. I literally feel like it's tomorrow. And I can't wait to see you guys there so we can party here.
It looks amazing. So we're so lucky to have Tamila on site showing us the actual hotel where the Conversations Conference is going to be happening. This, if you're new to this series, this is the third episode of the Meet the Speakers series here at Manychat, where we are bringing you the speakers from the Conversations Conference. It's like we're stepping into the future and making the future now, basically, which is what we're doing with Messenger bots anyway. So let's see if Tamila can actually take us in there. And oh my gosh, look at how beautiful this lobby is. I remember last year when I walked in, I was like, what? Even the restaurants, everything inside of this hotel, I was so just in awe. Oh my goodness gracious. So this is where you're going to be able to run through these halls. You're going to be able to see the people in real life, like actually give people hugs. You're going to be able to learn all of the tricks and strategies and secrets from the most brilliant marketers that are in the world now. We are all going to be in Austin in September. So we hope that you will be there. And Tamila, before we bring Mckenzie on, are you still here, Tamila? You are. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. What happens when they comment with the word cake? Do you remember? We're going to make this a piece of cake for you right now.
Okay. So if you comment the word cake, because chatbots are a piece of cake with Manychat, and it doesn't require code or anything, any programming, you can just start today. We will give you $200 off your ticket.
Oh my gosh. And how long is this going to last? So when you comment below with the word cake, you're going to be sent a message that gives you, it asks you to reply with the word cake. When you reply with the word cake, you're going to be sent a special code that will only be good for
48 hours.
48 hours from right now.
The cake is sweeter if you do it during the show.
Oh, that is so true. So maybe we can find some magic that we can do if you actually do this during the show. That is so true.
Screenshot it. Like if you already bought your ticket, like let us know who's coming, what you want to see. We're pretty much here, like waiting for you to come and be here with us. I'm just gonna sit here. Awesome. I'm gonna post up my house. Like I'm living here. I'm waiting.
She's moving to Austin just so she can be there for the Conversations Conference.
I'm moving back to Austin.
I love it. It's so good. I've already been 3 times this year just because I'm so ready for this conference to happen. All right, Tamila, I'm going to send you down into our lobby. You can hang out with us. We'll bring it back on at the end of the show. And I'm going to bring up our special guest. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Yes, I love it. Okay, thank you, Tamila. All right, let's give Tamila the biggest fireworks show. I would love to see all the likes and the hearts. So cool that she was able to be on scene at the Conversations Conference location in Austin. So awesome. I am so glad that you're here. We are going to be bringing on one of my most favorite human beings, Mckenzie Lieberman. She is my go-to when it comes to, oh my gosh, what's happening with bots. Anytime I have any question, I want to confirm something that's going on. I want to ask a question about a new strategy that I'm doing. She is the person that I go to. You probably recognize her from the Manychat Facebook group if you're a member of the Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, go ahead and write the words "let me in" down below this video, and I will personally come back and make sure that you get the link to the Facebook group, because come on, it's the best Facebook group on the planet. So you need to be in there. And you may have seen videos Mckenzie has done in there. She's so amazing at answering all of your questions. I'm like, girl, how do you keep up? She has a company called Orca Marketology, which she started after having worked as a scientist. So we're going to learn more about this, how she went from scientist to marketer and brought her business within 18 months to 6 figures. So often we hear these long journeys of like what it takes to build a rockin' business. And she did this in just 18 months with a background as a scientist. So I want you to know this is possible for you. So we're going to bring Mckenzie on. Let's give her a big old shout out right now. Ta-da! Yes.
Hey.
Hi. Oh my goodness. It's so good to see you.
Yes. Nice to see you too. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh. It's so awesome to see the Fairmont again. It's been almost a year and a half or a year since I've been there. So
yeah, at
the last conference, I'm looking and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember we were eating delicious food in that lobby right there where she was at.
Was there cake? That is the real question.
There might have been. I probably was not eating it though, trying to, I work out and stuff and trying to look good. So,
oh, right, I know, and looking good for being on that big old stage, because we're so stoked that you're going to be speaking again at the Conversations Conference. I just realized I never introduced myself, so if I've never met you before, I know I've met you, Mckenzie. But if you're here with us, my name is Molly Mahoney. And I'm so thrilled to be able to host this series here with Manychat, because it means that I get to hang out with amazing people like you. Aww. So really, really awesome. Thank you so much for being here on our 3rd episode. So what's going to happen now is we're going to ask some questions about your background, how you got started as a bot builder, some of your favorite bot strategies, what you're going to be bringing to the conference. And we want this to be really interactive. So Mckenzie and I were actually talking about this last night, that we would love questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and post them down below. What can be really helpful is if you put a little Q. I guess I could write the word Q, like the letter Q. Watch. Oh. Be Live makes this so easy. So do this before your question. Nice. That way it will help us to know that it is an actual question. And if you're just joining us, when you comment with the word cake, this is what's going to happen. You'll be sent a message from the Manychat bot. He will send you a message, and then you'll reply to that message with the word cake. At that point, you'll get access to the show notes from the show today. We're putting together a blog post. So I know, it's so good. So as Mckenzie drops all of these nuggets on us, we're going to turn those into a blog post, which you will be sent at the end of the week. You'll also get access to a special code. If you are not yet joining us at the Conversations Conference, you will be getting access to a special code so that you can get $200 off the current price. Did you hear how long this code is available for?
48 hours?
Yes, but I love you were listening. You can be taught. I loved what Tamila said, which is, if you use this code during the process of this video, it's going to be even sweeter. I think that Mckenzie and I probably could put together, I didn't talk about this to anyone else before, but I'm going to just go with it and make it up right now. I think Mckenzie and I probably could put together some sort of like getting started guide PDF, like best practices that we would send you if you used this code word today during this video. Yeah. Would that work?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, amazing. Perfect. We'll tag team it. I love it. See, like that, making it a piece of cake. All right. So first of all, I just want to know the story, and I don't think I've really heard this before, even though we've done videos together and we've hung out before. How did you go from being a scientist to being a marketer with an agency and a 6-figure business? Like, what was that transition like?
Right. When I tell people that I was a clinically certified cytogeneticist, which is big words for I sat in front of a microscope all day long analyzing chromosomes for abnormalities. So
okay, say it again though.
Clinically certified. So I'm certified clinically as a cytogeneticist.
Cytogeneticist?
Yeah.
Okay, see, amazing. And I think this works perfectly when you move into bots, because it's like you're studying all of the little things that happen, right?
Yeah, and people are like, when they hear that, they're like, how did you make that connection, right? And a lot of it is with my background in science and math, statistics, it's kind of all the STEM sort of thing. It was an easy transition for me in terms of it being looking at campaigns, looking at bots, just kind of as a scientific view, right? The scientific method, you change one variable at a time and you see what works and you make adjustments and stuff. So I go about how I build bots, how I build Facebook ad campaigns very scientifically in that aspect. And it's just, for me, that kind of comes naturally just because that's how my brain works. But so it was kind of an easy thing. Plus I'm techie. So I was the de facto IT person in my department. So if a computer freaked out or something, then they'd say, oh, the camera's not working. Like, can you come help? I'm like, okay, look, I'm like, you unplugged the camera. You're charging your cell phone. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have friends who have worked in like tech support, and they're like the thing that we say most, which I guess is the same with everything. It's like refresh permissions is like, the thing that usually is going to solve all of our problems. So with that transition, I can totally see how it helps you with Facebook ads, with messenger bots. And we actually got a question about this earlier from JP. He said, does your science background help with bot building? And do I need to dye my hair blue in order to get my agency to 6 figures? So I don't know if you guys can tell, but especially because I've got the black background here on Manychat, but my hair is blue also. Like,
ooh, I see it.
Do you see it? It's kind of like an oil slick thing I'm going for. But so maybe that is actually a part of the strategy. Do you think the blue hair has helped?
Maybe. I mean, it helps me stand out for sure. Memorable. But I think my science background has helped me, but I don't think everybody has to have a science background to build bots decently, right? It's just as long as you have a good critical thinking skills of being able to say, okay, in your mind's eye, you see how things connect and how things flow. I mean, when I get a new client, there's a lot of times that I ask them questions. They're like, is that everything you need? I'm like, well, when I start building it, I'm sure I'll come out with some other questions of like, oh, what about this sort of thing? So it's not like I know all the questions. I know everything initially. A lot of times I have to go back and be like, oh, okay, what about this if someone, in your bot does this or asks about this sort of thing? So
that's such a great point. This was something that came up on the show that we did with David and Philippe as well, was the idea of listening. Like once we create these bots, and I'm assuming everyone here knows what a bot is. I never really thought on these episodes of explaining that, but just if anyone has questions that are like that, let us know. We are using Manychat, obviously, because it is the best chat building tool in the world, which we will be talking more about. But one thing that Philippe said was that when you are, you build whatever you plan out ahead of time, right? You build the bot flow, you put it out, and then you have to make sure you listen and continue to be curious, like you just said. I love that. So and which I'm sure your science background helped with that as well, because you just stay curious.
Oh yeah, totally. And that's the other big thing was growing my agency. People are like, oh, you don't niche down. I'm like, well, I guess my niche is bots, but I like to learn about a lot of different industries. I mean, I do like to focus on, maybe more brick and mortar e-commerce sort of things, but I don't stick with just, just chiropractors or just, whatever, right? It's like I have a wide range, and I love that because not only can I learn about new businesses and how things work with them and their different services and offerings, but also I realize that there's certain strategies I can use for, that I've used for restaurants. I've also used for waxing studios. So it kind of is across the board, being able to use similar strategies and then just tweaking it for it, how it works best.
I love that. So yeah, and I mean, we can talk more about niching down and stuff also, and how that can be beneficial. I really want to highlight too the fact that Simon says I'm not a scientist, right? So I started as, he's what?
He's trolling. He trolls everything I do.
Okay, well, good to know. Yeah. I would just like to say whether or not, if someone is thinking like, I don't have a really like technical or that type of a background, I was a musical theater performer. So like there could not be more opposite of a way to start, right? Than starting as a scientist, starting as like singing and dancing on stage. And I think that really, if you look into, if you're not fully engrossed in the world of bots yet, and you look into like, what are the things in your business and your life and your past that you can pull out like that. Yeah. Like my musical theater background helps me to put personality into bots.
Exactly.
There's all of these different things that we can pull, even like choreography, right? I can see choreography kind of being like, the way that you would look at a science petri dish or whatever. Okay, so there's so many cool things that each of you can bring to your business when it comes to bots that are going to make people gravitate to you and make your bot building skills stand out. So
exactly. Really cool. When I was starting with digital marketing, that was one of the big aha moments, or the part that really started to have me take off, is focusing on how I was different from everybody else. And that was, for me, it was, what scientist is in digital marketing, right? And how does that help me with my business? Because everybody has different strengths. And so being able to really focus on that, to be able to have you stand out and have that be your focal point. So then that way it's showing people like, I'm not just somebody who, like I like to tell people, I'm a scientist. I am not just some girl that loves social media and I just like to play on Facebook all day.
Which actually is something that I think it allows you to have a real relationship with your clients as well.
Exactly.
Right? Because you're becoming a human being, and you're not, as I like to say, you're not just being a salesy weirdo who's like only talking about bots where your clients can't actually have a connection with you. So I want to start a poll, which is, we're going to start a little poll here. And the poll is, do you build bots for yourself or for your clients or for both? So if you want to vote, we would love to know. And the way that you vote is in the chat. If you're on, woo, look at that, both. If you're on, I love watching it move. If you're on your phone, in the chat section, you'll see a little circle that's, I think it's purple and it has little lines on it. Click on that and you can vote there. If you're watching on your desktop computer, there should be a little circle on the top of the screen. You click on that to be able to vote. Or sometimes even the whole little poll pops up and you can vote on it right there, which is really cool. So I love this. Oh my gosh, we have 100%. I can't see how many people have voted yet. But we have 100%, 100% of people voted for both clients and for their own businesses. And that's another thing that I love about the community and our Facebook group. We'll keep checking on that. I love about our Facebook group is that everyone's so supportive in there, and it's really cool. And at the conference, right, whether you are building something for your own business or you're building for clients, there's going to be so much information for you. We even have an agency day. Are you coming to the agency day?
Oh, of course. I will definitely be there.
I mean, what? I'm so stoked. And I remember last year meeting people who were restaurant owners and then meeting people who were building lots of bots for all sorts of other restaurant owners. It was just a really awesome collaborative experience. So,
networking there is amazing. That was one of the best parts of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Plus the swag.
Oh my gosh. And the food.
So good. So good. So good. Look at this. Jerry says, I was in law enforcement, so I guess I would be familiar with not going to Facebook jail.
That's hilarious. There you go.
So good. So good. I love it. Okay. Blue hair is the key word for growth. I love it. Okay. So I want to know more even further back. Like I see how your science background helped you to helps you now, but what was the moment when you switched and started with Facebook ads, right? Is that right?
Yeah. So back in the summer of 2016, I was working full-time in the lab, but I was working, I was working weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My husband was working Monday through Thursday. So we didn't get a day off together. Yeah. And having 3 kids and, during summer, we can go to the lake or anything because mom was always working. And so I'm like, there's got to be, I was getting not bored, but I was just kind of burnt out of cytogenetics, being in a room with microscopes and no windows. I was like, okay, I can do more with my life and help more people than just sitting here looking at chromosomes, even though they're really interesting. So I started looking online, what could I do to get me out of this job? I'm like, there's something online I got to be able to do. And I started learning about people running Facebook ads for businesses. I'm like, I can learn how to do that. And so I took a course and I bought a course in September of 2016. And the thing was, my husband had been laid off for almost 2 years, about a year prior. And so it was just my cytogenetics income for a family of 5. And the issue with that was we were racking up our credit card debt, all that stuff, right? So when he got a job earlier in 2016, we obviously hadn't paid off a lot of our cards and stuff. And so I didn't have any extra money lying around at all for a course. But thanks to PayPal credit, I got approved for, $2,000 or something like that. And so I was able to buy this course. And then, oh my gosh,
I just got goosebumps everywhere. So,
I know, right?
And this is something that we don't actually talk about as often as I think maybe we should. And not to encourage a bajillions of dollars of credit card debt.
Oh, I know.
But at some point, I remember one time that when I was first building my business, I was at a conference and there was something that, we were talking about investing in business or something like that. And I stepped outside and I was at a point when I was first building that I had things were close to being maxed out. And it was adding such stress to my life. So I went outside and I called my credit card company to see if I could just raise my limit. And they were like, yeah, sure. It wasn't that big of a deal. And now we've paid everything off and it's all awesome. So
exactly.
When you get more credit card debt, because now whatever, but But like the idea of the fact that you're building a business and you're making an investment in yourself is like awesome. So
exactly. And I'm also the type of person that when I decide to do something, I put everything into it, and I'm kind of slightly competitive with myself. So I'm like, I'm going to make sure I'm doing this. Yeah. And so luckily, with PayPal credit, and also you get 6 months, no interest or whatever. So I'm like, sweet, I can have 6 months to pay this off. I bought this Facebook ads course. I was like, sweet, I'm going to start running ads for clients. And it took me forever. This is the other thing. People are like, oh, how do you get clients? And I'm like, I totally understand if you're having issues getting clients, just because when I first started, it took me a good 4 to 5 months to get my first paying client, just because the big thing was in between my head. With me being a scientist, I'm like, you're an expert when you have 3 letters after your name. You have PhD or you have MD, right? I'm like, how am I an expert? How can I actually, so I had imposter syndrome, like the worst case ever.
I was just going to say, so man, that imposter syndrome thing comes up big. So if you're here and you've ever had imposter syndrome, let us know we're not alone.
Yes, that was me. I still have it every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was hard for me to really run with that, because I was like, I'm not an expert, but I understood it. I was learning it. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I got to make this work. And so it was that do or die moment, right? I'm like, I just got to, I was hating my job even more, and it was motivating me even more to get out. Plus also my kids, and like, I couldn't do stuff with them. It was like, this is horrible. So I got a flyer. My very first client was a junk hauler, local junk hauler. I got a flyer in the mail, and I'm like, okay, well, he's obviously spending money on advertising. It's print advertising. I went on his website. He didn't have the Facebook pixel on his website. I'm like, okay, so he's not running Facebook ads. So I just called him up. I said, hey.
Or maybe he was running Facebook ads and doing them really poorly because he didn't have the pixel on his website.
Or that, yeah. So there's definitely room for improvement.
Yes.
So I called him up. I said, hey, are you interested in doing Facebook ads? I got your flyer, but are you interested in doing that? He's like, yeah, I've actually been thinking about doing that. So I said, great. So he started paying me $400 a month for just posting on his Facebook page. And then he agreed to doing ads, and that really took off. And I was running like an offer that was like $37 for one big item haul away, which was, it was great because people would come in and say, yeah, I want this item, but I also want you to take all this other junk. So it was really easy for him to upsell. And so it went really, really well. And this is where I started to, I guess, have a seed planted in my head about how bots would be beneficial. Before I even knew bots were a thing, was when I was running his Facebook ads, people would message his page asking him questions about the offer, or saying, hey, does this count? Or hey, does this qualify? Or hey, we have a bunch of brush. Can you come and take that? And so I was having to reply to all these people, and then also text him and be like, hey, what about this or whatever. So I got my first taste of how automation would be great. Yeah. Yeah. So being able to see how that, when I first learned about bots, that was the first thing I thought of, was that. It's like, sweet, I can actually automate a lot of this.
Yeah. So if you ever, and for those of you who have amazingly successful bot agencies, or you're just getting started with this, know that that's something to look for even in Facebook groups. Like if you hear someone saying like, I don't know how to reply to questions inside Messenger, like this is overwhelming me, something like that. Listening, that's a really great problem to solve with your bot building services. So really good.
Really. Exactly. And so I had him for a while. And also I got a trial client for Facebook ads off of Groupon. That's another place. So if people are looking for clients, like check out Groupon. They're paying money to Groupon, but they're not able to get any information from them. So Groupon's another great place to get clients. And then
wait, so hold on, because I like that. From Groupon, are you just going and messaging people like, hey, I saw your ad on Groupon? And
yeah, messaging or calling. I called an Anytime Fitness gym, and I said, hey, and this was back when I was just doing Facebook ads. I was doing a free trial, right? Saying $100, I'll run your ads for you. We'll do an offer. We did a gym offer of a class or something. But like with people ask me now, they're like, oh, should I do a free trial with bots? I'm like, please don't, because how much time and effort you have to put into a bot is a ton more than just regular Facebook ads. So if you're doing a bot and ads, I'm like, just do a limited trial that's, maybe 50% off or something like that. Because guess what? To businesses, it's a tax write-off. So if they're not willing to at least pay you something for your time, then they're not a good potential fit. Because you know what? If you do it free and they're like, oh, thanks for all these leads, I'm just going to take off and keep using your ads or whatever. So
totally. And with ads and bots, it's like an infrastructure that you're building that I know sometimes people are try to keep things like separate from their clients, but it's like you're building it in there for that. Like I never worry about that because I start with a relationship with my client that we're in on this together and you're paying us to build this magic for you, for your business.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that's the key is have them pay you at least something. So, and sadly that trial with that gym flopped because the trainer who was in charge of contacting people, here's another reason. So what I was doing was Facebook ads to a landing page and they'd fill out the form, give their name, email, and phone number to sign up for this free class or whatever. The trainer girl, she was like probably right out of high school. She contacted the potential customers or clients through email. She sent one email to them and nobody showed up for the class. And I'm like, so the benefit with bots, and since I found, since then I've used bots a lot of times for follow-up, say, hey, were you still interested in this? Or, hey, here's a reminder, we have this going on. And that automates it. And it takes away having to spend all that extra time for a business owner or a business owner's employees to contact all these people when it can just be automated and you can find out, if they're going or if they're not, sort of thing.
And as the marketer, you can be involved in that process to make sure things actually do close. Because I know there can be times when people are like, there hasn't been any results. And you're like, what are you talking about? There's 70,000 people for you to reach out to and talk to and make an offer to. But if you don't include yourself in that somehow in that offer process where you're getting them to the actual offer, your client might potentially think that there's not any results when there actually are. You just got to further the process along to bring in the actual dollars. I love it. Yes.
Exactly.
Such awesome questions and comments too. So let's actually take some questions. So there was a question about a Facebook pixel. Can you, I know what a Facebook pixel is, but just to make sure everybody's on the same page, can you just give us like the super short little version of what a Facebook pixel is?
Yeah, so when you set up in Business Manager, you can set up a Facebook pixel. And what that is just a little tiny piece of code. It's kind of like the code that you use for one of the website growth tools for Manychat. And you just put it in the head section of your website. And what that does is it tracks people who are visiting your website. So then that way you can retarget them, for future Facebook ads, or you can have cold traffic too, or it's actually warm traffic because it's people who visited your website. You can then send ads or show ads of those people who have visited your site. So it's just kind of like a tracking cookie.
So if you've ever seen an ad, like I remember when I first started, we were building Google ads for a client, and which I do not do Google ads very often anymore. But at the time I was building Google ads for a client, and they were like, I went and looked at this watch and the watch is following me everywhere now. I want our stuff to follow people like that. And so that's a retargeting ad. And so it's where it retargets the people who have already showed interest by simply visiting your page.
Exactly. And you can download a Chrome extension called the Facebook Pixel Helper, and it will show you, like I'm right now on this.
Here, I can actually show it
live, and it shows you.
I have it right now. Right? So let me actually show.
Yeah.
So, and this is an awesome, the Pixel Helper, that's such a great tip. So I'm going to do something crazy. I'm not going to show you my whole desktop because there's a million things on it, but I will show you on this. Oh no, I just did. You're going to see my whole desktop, whatever. Okay. So you'll see like this 17,000 screenshots that are on here behind this screen. Okay. So we're using Manychat here. And we're using Be Live, which allows us to go back behind the scenes. Oh, look at that. How nice. Okay. And so you can see at the very top of this screen, even on Be Live, as I'm using this as a broadcaster, you can see at the very top, there's this little Chrome extension right here. And it says 11 different pixels, right? So
that's crazy. Mine only shows 3.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen 11 different things, but you click on this and it shows all of the different types of pixels that are being used on this page. And so if you go to, like, let's say you pulled up, like if we went to, what's your website, Mackenzie?
orcamarketology.com.
Can we check it? Did I spell it right? I don't know. We'll see if I did or not.
Orca.
Yep, yes, I'm so good. And so then you can see right here, I could come and be like, oh, Mackenzie knows how to set up Facebook ads. She's using a pixel.
Exactly. Right? Oh, and here's another tip. Let's say you're
awesome.
Shopping for something online and you see something you really like. Check to see if they have a Facebook pixel. And then just wait, because you will probably get a retargeting ad that will give you a discount code because you didn't buy or you add to cart. That's the thing. If you see something added to cart and then just abandon it. and don't buy. And then you'll probably see a Facebook ad. They'll say, hey, did you forget something? And then they'll give you a discount code.
So good. Another thing, if you're not comfortable with the Facebook ad side of things, right, is simply by going to someone's Facebook page and just clicking to send a message, you can see if they're using a bot. So because you'll see that little get started things pop up. And I mean, just to go click that just to see what's happening is a great way to just get connected.
Oh, exactly. And that's the thing I tell people. I say, if you're looking for clients, first check to see if they have a pixel. Second thing, check to see if they have a bot. If they have a bot, don't waste your time. Just go to the next potential customer, potential business, because I've had that happen to me. I was running bots for a LASIK place, and somebody messaged it saying, hey, are you looking for extra leads? And I'm like, dude, this is a bot. You're going through some automation. Don't you think that maybe somebody is building this that's not the LASIK doctor? Like, come on, man.
Right. And when the problem is when you reach out that way, then the person they're reaching out to is their bot builder, most likely. So then you're not going to get very far. Right. Okay. I love this. So good. Okay. So I want to know. So this is so awesome. Thank you for sharing such amazing tips. And also that little, the story of how you switched into this magic.
Wait, I didn't say yet how I got into bots.
Oh, wait. So then how did you get into bots? Let's do that.
So it was after that client that he ended up being kind of not a good fit. I'll just say that. Okay. And so I went to two local restaurants, a really cool pizza place and a Mexican restaurant. And I dropped off proposals for each. They're identical. And I had like a screenshot of an ad that I made up as a mock-up for them to show them how I could do ads. And I told them about, messenger bots. And this is when I was just getting started. So I was like, and I'm trying to explain it to them. I feel like I was like deer in headlights.
And were you talking to like the person who was selling you a quesadilla, or were you talking to, did you get the owner?
The actual owner, yeah. Okay. So I was like making sure I'm speaking with the person that is in charge. The pizza place says they're fine with sending out flyers. They don't want to do any digital marketing. And I'm like, okay, have fun with that. But the Mexican restaurant, I was showing him some of the results that I got with just Facebook ad clients. And then I was like, yeah, and I want to use this stuff, this thing called a messenger bot that will actually help automate and just bring people into Messenger. And then you can, we can send messages to them for future offers and things like that. And he's like, okay. And I said, okay. And so it'll be $500 a month plus ad spend. And he goes, oh, that's too much. I've only bought a magazine ad one time for $160. I'm like, okay, how about $400? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like totally going to the bottom of the barrel. And he goes, how about $300 in free food? I'm like,
and free food.
So I was like, okay.
So now all 5 of you are eating at the Mexican restaurant every single night.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I was like, okay, that works. And really, that was one of the best. I'm glad that worked out, and I didn't hold out and say, oh, 500 or nothing, because he was my first bot client that I was able to really test some things on and get results. Like we ran a giveaway, and this is on the Manychat blog about how I ran this giveaway. And it just blew up like gangbusters. And I took those results and then posted them around on my Facebook page and my profile and in a couple groups. And I got a ton more clients from that. And so it just kind of has blown up, and he's still my client. It's been almost 2 years, and being able to run offers and stuff. And also he's the best client because he just tells me what he wants to run. And I have the Facebook account and my own ad account because he doesn't run Facebook ads. He doesn't have a pixel on his website, and he doesn't know how to even modify his website to add one. So, and so I just tell him like, okay, what's the next offer we're going to run? He's like, okay, how about a giveaway for gift cards? Another one. I'm like, okay. And then I just create it, and then I run Facebook ads, and I don't have him like dinking around in there, like messing like, hey, why is the headline so long or something? I get those types.
He sees you're getting results and trusts you, which is awesome.
Exactly. That's what he cares about. It's just me getting them results. So I love it. And he's still paying me $300 plus free food. I haven't raised prices on him.
Okay. So I'm actually so glad you clarified this, because we did another interview once together where you talked about him and you were like, he pays me $300 a month. And I wanted to be like, Mckenzie, what the heck is wrong with you? So I'm really glad you clarified, because it was actually something I planned on messaging you in private about. I wasn't sure if I wanted to out you publicly about it. So I'm glad you outed yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was just like, and again, also there's that imposter syndrome too, right? I'm sure, I hadn't done any ads or bots for restaurants before. I mean, now I have a lot of results I can back up, and I can, with confidence, go to new clients, say, hey, this is what I've done before. And this is how much it'll be. So depending on, like how complex the bot is or whatever. So after that experience with the restaurant, I have not created a landing page since. It's all been Facebook ads to bots. So it's constant, and it's great because then it's building their list. And the other big thing and big tip for people to use, if you're not using this already, and I did a video about this in the Manychat group, is using rules to be able to send reminder messages, because that's like the retargeting of messenger bots, of being able to, someone's going through and, like, let's say it's a lead magnet that you're asking for a free consult for, like, let's say a roofing company or something, right? They go through, they give their name, obviously, because they're on Facebook, but their email, but let's say they don't give their phone number, then you can send a reminder message to them, say, hey, were you still interested in getting a free consult or getting $500 off a new roof with a free consult? And then that actually gets a lot of people. For my orthodontist client, I've done this with, there was a 35% increase of people who actually went through for the free consult based off of this catch-all of the rules. So definitely rules for reminder messages are huge.
I actually have questions that I know we've gotten about the rules that I know a lot of people might have. So I have a question about the rules that I want to ask you. If anyone wants to know more about the rules so that you can do that and get better results for you and for your clients, let us know. Say, tell me about the rules or something like that. Let us know. Before we come to that though, I want to ask you one more thing. I'm sure there are so many people who are wondering how they can learn more from your brilliant brain. And so I'm wondering what you're speaking about at the conference.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, no. So I'm excited because I can build some pretty cool things within Messenger without having to do coding stuff.
With Manychat, that is like one of the coolest things. So, yes.
Yeah, being able to use rules, that's a huge thing. Being able to use custom fields, changing those. I mean, really using rules a ton is awesome. So like I built out this really cool campaign for my waxing client for during Christmas time, where it was offers that would expire 24 hours after they would open it, right? So it wasn't just when it was sent, it was 24 hours after they opened it. And using rules and using custom fields and the buy button, it was awesome, and it worked really, really great. And people were like, "Oh man, I missed that." I'm like, "Well, sorry, you gotta go for the next offer." So being able to use a lot of the different functionality with also using Zapier. Like I use Zapier a ton for a lot of different things, including like that example with the orthodontist with free consults, sending them to Acuity, and then based on if they schedule or not, then they receive a specific text message to them, because that's the other thing. And we find this funny, but people don't like to talk on the phone, right? It's like a big ask. And so we have found that going from Messenger to text makes it calling a lot easier. So it's like that stepping stone.
So are you actually setting up the text message campaigns for your clients, or do your clients already have the text message services, or do you add that on?
They have the service. So we're using ZipWhip. And being able to, and it calls from their office number. So that's even better. So it's like, it's not like they're receiving, or not calls, but text from their office number. So it's great because then when they do call, then, and in the text it says, save this number because we'll be calling you about insurance information and things like that. Then they get a better response rate that way.
You know what I'm so excited about right now? So we actually have a dentist client that I love who's going to start using Facebook Live and bots together, and they are so amazing. It's a cosmetic dentistry, and I love them. But what I just realized is I had to reschedule a dentist appointment like a week or two ago, and they have called me literally 17,000 times, and I've not answered the phone once. So I have the best case study of how this would work for me if they added the text messaging service in, because I would be so much more inclined to just reply to the text message. But when I'm on calls, or like all of us are like this, right? So it's we all have experience with this too. So it's like, seriously, I love it. Okay. So is this what you're talking about at conference? Yeah.
So talking about all these different ways of things I'd use to be able to create these cool flows. Oh, did you? Okay.
No, I just got excited.
I was like, oh no, it's happening again. But all these cool different flows and strategies using, Manychat specifically, and then also adding in some Zapier stuff. So not a lot of coding stuff. I actually, for the first time yesterday, put together something using the Manychat API. Thanks to Jeff Kubinski. He helped me figure out how to do this sort of thing. But I haven't used any coding or dynamic content or external requests or anything, just because I'm not a coder and I can do pretty much everything that I need to do within Manychat using Zapier. But this one thing that I was trying to do, which was pretty much using creating a quiz, and then based on the quiz results, send them a graph of the results using Google Sheets. And so
cool.
the great thing is you could use, I think, nifty images. You could do that, but it's like $750 a month for that plan to be able to do that. And so I figured out how to do it for free using Manychat and the Google integration, and then Google Sheets. And so,
cool.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, I know I can do this, but what little piece am I missing here? So Jeff helped me get that part. So, but anyways, that's the first thing I've done with coding stuff or that stuff. So everything I'm talking about is going to be mainly just about the how to do all this stuff without having any coding knowledge at all.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay, so if you are going to be at conference, let us know. If you're going to be at the Conversations Conference, let us know. I would like to do a shout out for showing up. So if you're going to be there, say I'm there, and then give us the name of your business in the comments, and I'll bring you up and I'll shout out the name of your business, like a little thank you for showing up with us. Really cool. Yeah. I'm also going to look at the results from this poll again right now. Ooh, it's changing a bit. So we've got 14% are building for themselves. Cool. 11% are building for clients, and 75% are building for both, which I dig it. And it's funny. I think this happens with social media marketers as well, social media managers who are not necessarily doing bots. It's like we get so focused on our client stuff that we then forget we have our own business that we need to market as well, which is why I love the agency side, that we're going to have this agency day. Do you have a team? Like what's your business look like now?
So it's mainly just me. I actually hired somebody locally. I've known this girl for a while. She is actually going to school. She's finishing up school with her degree as being an astrophysicist. So she's a scientist. So I'm like, okay, I'll jive pretty well. But what was happening is she was posting on Facebook that she was working at Starbucks and she was hating it. She's not a real big people person. She's not like, like that, like Starbucks. And so I was like, hey, I see that you hate Starbucks. I know you're techie and that you think logically like I do. How about I pay you what you were getting at Starbucks and you can help me build bots? And so I put her through my training course and she learned bots. And so now I have her help me build like flows and stuff. And then I can just tweak them where needed. But yeah, so pretty much I'm still a one-person show for the most part. She just kind of helps me when I need that extra help.
That is such an awesome idea. I love it so much. Okay, so good. And look at this. I've got this. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, so Shelly, so good to see you. Shelly says, I'll be there Social Media Week.
I'm speaking at her conference next week.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Oh, that's so awesome. We talked about it, actually. We met at Social Media Marketing World in person. Cool. Yeah. And it's my kid's graduation and piano recital is next week. So I can't go, but that's so cool.
Bummer. That would be so cool.
So awesome. So good. Ta, great idea. Ta says I should add another option to the poll, not using chatbots yet. So I don't know if I can add it now that it's already started, but if you're not using chatbots yet, give us a not yet and let me know why the heck you're not.
Right.
This is inspiring you to see some of the magic that can be created. Farah's going to be there. So good. So
you know what? I also should mention about why I'm not working my job anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not working as a scientist anymore.
Because what? Yeah. So let's talk about that little transition, how that happened there.
Yeah. So 1 year to the month after starting Facebook ads, right? After I bought that course, I surpassed $10,000 a month. I'm like, sweet, this is amazing. Like I could have probably quit before that because that's like, 3 times more than what I was making at the lab. But I also was getting health insurance for myself and my kids. I can't just, when you have a family, you can't just, burn all the bridges. I mean, I guess you could, but I didn't want to do that. And so I had gradually also worked my way down to part-time. And by the time I quit, I was only working 1 day a week, which was a Sunday. And so I was mainly doing it to help them out still. And
you still had your insurance with that 1 day a week?
Yeah, well, it was very limited. It was a little bit less, but being able to still have that. And that was the other thing. It's still that safety net. Like, what if this chatbot thing doesn't work out? And so I, had that in the back of my head, even though I knew I was just continually growing. And so the final straw, my daughter's birthday is in December. And we were going to have her birthday party on the weekend of her birthday. And so I'd asked for that Sunday off, from work. And then it ended up where my mother-in-law had to have something happened with one of her teeth, and she had to go and get surgery or something. So we had to delay it. So I 6 days or the Sunday before, I said, hey, I need to switch it to have it be next Sunday. And my supervisor said, well, you might get an occurrence for this because it's not enough time. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't need you guys anymore. So I was annoyed and I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I went to the grocery store. I got a sorry for your loss sympathy card. And I wrote my 2-week notice on there because I already had the next 2 weeks off, right? So what I had to do is we had to move her birthday early, I guess is what it was. And so then I had already had the next week off because that was supposed to be my daughter's birthday. And then I had Christmas off. And so I wasn't, oh
my gosh,
it wasn't going to work. So I just gave my 2-week notice, wrote it on the back of or inside of that sympathy card, put my badge in there in an envelope and just put it in my supervisor's mailbox. And then I was done. I walked out.
Oh my gosh. Okay. If you're in a place that's similar to this and you want to be able to drop a sorry for your loss sympathy card to whatever, whether it's Starbucks, whether it's the scientist, whether it's maybe you have to send one to yourself. Like for me, I was teaching singing lessons and I finally decided not to do that anymore. And that was like, I had to break up with myself, and my clients that I loved, right? If this is something that you would love to do so that you can totally own your own schedule, decide exactly who you want to work with, building these amazing things with Manychat, it's such an awesome opportunity, then you need to come to conference because there's going to be so many people like Mckenzie that you can connect with. And I want to know also if anyone actually comments with the word cake to get access to that code. And so that you can actually, maybe include some cake in the sorry for your loss. Like,
right.
You're going to get an access code that will give you $200 off of the current price for the Conversations Conference. We would love to see you there. This has been so awesome. I am checking with Tamila to make sure it's okay that we keep going because I feel like this is amazing. So Tamila, give us a
I forgot. Yeah, she's hanging out watching questions.
Well, one question that came up. So Mandy, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. Mandy says not yet. She's not sure how to begin and how it will benefit her business. So Mandy is actually just started as one of our clients in my business coaching program. So I'm super stoked, Mandy, that you're here with us right now because you're going to have your whole bot set up and you're going to freak out when you see how it works. Mandy does several different things. One of the things that she does is she has a team that she's building selling makeup. And we actually have Rachel Peterson built the most awesome Manychat.
I love Rachel.
I do too, so much. So she built this bot with Manychat for someone who was with a makeup company and building a team as well. And it's a sponsoring bot. So it starts with a video that's like, tells the story kind of similar to what Mckenzie just did, tells the story of how she was working in another job as a mom and then how she found this opportunity, built this business, was able to retire her husband, all this stuff. And she's like, if you want more information, just give it, let me know below this video. And then it sends information and it sends this whole flow, which is perfect because this leads into the rules question that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
So it's the whole flow with quick replies, but also with, custom fields, right? So user input.
Yeah.
So it asks a question, they type it, and then another answer, another response comes. There's lots of voice messages in it. So it's like, oh, thanks so much. Here's my, here's how I do this. It's really natural sounding.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if people don't actually answer those questions, that you can set up a rule that sends a reminder.
Yep.
Right.
You can adjust the timing of it too, like saying, oh, you want to wait an hour, 20 minutes or whatever, then you can adjust that. And I've done that with the orthodontist spot too, is I adjust the timing to see, by maybe 10 minutes or whatever, to see if that increases the click-through rate pretty much of them completing it. And then if it does, then maybe I adjust it a little bit more. And then if it doesn't after that time, then I put it back sort of thing. So it's just kind of adjusting it that way.
Awesome. Okay. So when you, what happens when someone doesn't reply, let's say like for 24 hours, and then they send another message later, and then the quick reply then the response comes back, but it doesn't actually match what they sent?
Oh, you're talking about like the custom field is still, the user input still wanting whatever information that they were asking for. So the good and bad, I experienced good and bad with both of this, but the nice thing, or I guess in that instance, that the custom field, the user input field will expire after 24 hours. So if someone comes and they don't reply, like let's say it's asking for their email and then they read it, but then they don't reply for like 24 or 48 hours or something like that. Well, then when they reply, it won't put it into that user input field. Okay, perfect. So it's only an open-ended question for 24 hours. Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
Awesome. So if they do respond like 10 hours later and they ask a different question, then it's like, please enter your email address. Right?
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing. So what I used to do is because a lot of times doing lead generation, I would take out the skip option just because they need the email of the phone.
Question.
I'm not going to let them to skip to get whatever, right? So I take out this, or I keep the skip in there, and then right after, and I have each user input question in its own block, and then I have it go to a condition that looks to see if it's there. If it's not there, that means they hit skip. Then it'll say, hey, it looks like we didn't get your email address. Were you still interested in a free consult or whatever? And then they can say yes or no, or they can respond. So that's the other thing. If someone's wanting to ask a question, it'll say, please enter an email like blah, 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 or whatever. And it will also give them the option to skip. So if they do it then that way, then they can skip it and then ask their question there.
Amazing. Okay. And if this is over your head, know that Manychat, like in the Manychat community, there are so many ways to get started easily. Like Mackenzie and I both have courses. Manychat has a free course that you can jump in and get so much support, so much value. So there are ways that you can get support. You don't have to start with something complicated. No. Jerry asks, when you say rules, is that the same as a sequence? And it's not. It's actually a whole separate tab you'll notice in the Manychat dashboard.
It's under automation. It's under the same spot as sequences, but it is totally different.
So it's underneath where it says automation, depending on what version of Manychat you're using, right? There's, but it is a separate thing that says rules. And with that, you can set these conditions that you can apply to all sorts of things. In the interview that we did with David and Philippe, they talked a lot about rules as well. When they did their launch, they brought in 3 million in an hour, totally normal. They're speaking at conference as well. So yes. Okay. So, I love this. So good. And I love Sally says that she's glad that I wrote a sorry for my lost card to myself if I need to. So, but oh my gosh. Yes. And Pedro says, I wrote a sorry for your loss to my ex imposter syndrome, right?
There you go.
Oh my goodness, this is so good. Okay, Mckenzie, I cannot wait to see you at conference. Everyone, if you're watching this right now live, or you're watching it just enough time in the replay, you're going to be able to use the word cake below this video to be sent a message from Manny, the Manychat bot, who will get you access to the Conversations Conference website, where you can use the code word that it's going to give you. The code word on the website is not cake. I almost said that. There's a secret code that you're going to get sent from the bot if you're watching this in time. It's only good for the next 48 hours to get $200 off of the current price of the Manychat conference tickets happening in Austin. Mckenzie, do you want to see the location one more time?
Yes. It'll be memories. I cannot wait to be there. I cannot wait to meet and see a lot of people and talk with you guys in person. It's one thing to be, on this video or answering your questions in the group. It's so much better to be actually face to face, be like, oh, hey, or I'm like, oh, wait, your profile picture does not really look like you right now. So remind me, what is your name again?
Right. I remember. And one of my favorite things last year is that Matt Plapp just took his computer. I had a question. He took his computer out and he was like, let's figure it out together. So he literally just sat with me on a couch and took his computer out. Everybody was so crazy helpful. And it's things that it's impossible to do via the internet. So,
and it's networking with a lot of other people that are into bots. That's the other huge, amazing thing. Like when you go to TNC or social media marketing world, there are people that use bots or whatever. This is specifically for messenger marketing and the exciting aspect of that. Plus the other huge thing that was so awesome last year was all of the updates from Mikkel talking about what Manychat is coming up with and what's going to
be. So if you want to stay, I'm bringing Tamila on to talk about this too, because if you want to stay seriously ahead of the curve, she just disappeared. Oh, it's okay. I know she was getting messages on her phone too. So we had I am going to answer one other question we had in the beginning. We had a question about subscription messaging. Manychat has a blog post that they did about subscription messaging that is so good. But that is a perfect example of why going to conferences is important. So Mckenzie was able to get information from Facebook by going to F8. You're going to be able to get information from Mike, from the team at Manychat by going to the Conversations Conference. Tamila, there you are. Hooray. Hi. So, can you just give us a couple of the extra little nuggets, the reasons why we should be there, where you are right now?
Yes. For people who've joined later on, I'm actually at the Fairmont. This is where our welcome reception is going to be. We are also hosting a huge party across the street at a place called, I'm going to keep it secret for now, but it's going to be massive.
Can't wait.
There will be beer. There will be amazing drinks and cocktails. There might be a Manny cocktail. And the top 3 reasons to come to the conference, besides to hang out with me, and I'm super fun, is one, you're going to, like Mackenzie and Molly mentioned, these are people, like the 2,000 people that are coming, these are the top thought leaders, and not just thought leaders, but people who have been helping the community grow, helping their businesses and their clients' businesses grow using messenger marketing. So we're going to be talking about the latest trends, the top useful tips on how to grow your business and how to do it not just one time, but over time. We're talking about people going from becoming a scientist to becoming a full-time agency, like stuff like that, which is amazing. The second is just the experience of being in Austin and celebrating all that we've accomplished in the space. We're going to have an award ceremony. We're going to really recognize some of the most ingenuity and smartest people in the room. And then the third is really content, right? Like the content is going to be so top level that there's not going to be any other place you're going to be able to get that information. And the fourth bonus one is we're going to have a lot of fun.
I mean, so much fun. And I see that Kelly Marabella is here right now. She is going to be there with us too. So good. So actually, I love the combination of what Mackenzie shared about, and then what you just shared about content, because when you go to TNC, Social Media Marketing World, which are both amazing conferences, right? There's so many people who are not quite sure what even bots really are, what's possible. Here, we're going to all be like, there's going to be content for people who are just getting started, but there's also, it's like the language that we all use together collectively as bot builders. We're not going to have to, there's going to be opportunity for you to go to sessions where you're not going to have to sit through like, what is a bot, right? We're going to, which is hard to do at other conferences because
awesome.
Because it's like, all the muggles can stay away and we're going to be there with the actual wizards.
Farewell. We have the magic. We know the future. We've looked into the crystal ball.
It's going to be amazing. I can't not wait. It just hit me. It's like, really, that's what it's like. So we are going to wrap this puppy up. Oh my gosh. It's been so awesome to be here. Mackenzie, do you want to just throw one last little final, 1 minute nugget with us?
Wow. Beside all the other nuggets that I gave. Pretty much
for getting started, if somebody's looking, what's the one thing they need to do to really take off?
So for those of you who are getting started or whatever, learning about it is great, but really the best thing to do is dive in. I'm in, the group answering questions a lot of time. And there's questions where people are like, hey, what will happen if I do this? I'm like, try it out. Learn about something and then just mess with it and try it out and hit preview and see what it does. I mean, that's for me, that's how I learned, I didn't take a bot course. I just kind of dove in and started learning all it. Again, this was way before there was, the flow builder, the custom values, and all these other cool things that there are now. But really, when you dive in and you just start messing around with it and hitting, adding the different parts of the flow and then seeing what it does, that's some of the best way to really get learning.
I love it. So play, have fun, build your own bot on a separate page that's just for you to play with, right? Yep. We have all kinds of things that we're building just so we can play with, so then we can go back to our clients and use them there. I love it. And I would say with diving in, I would give one more word, which is the word decide. So decide that you're actually going to make something of this, like Mackenzie did when she applied for PayPal credit. She was like, this is happening, right?
I should contact PayPal credit and say, hey, can I do a testimonial?
Oh my gosh, you should. I love it so much.
Because I don't know where I would be right now if I didn't do that. If I didn't take the investment into myself and to learn how to create this and learn from somebody who has been there and has done a lot of the mistakes and stuff, and then just to really help to, I was thinking fast track my learning, but it did take me 18 months. That's the other thing. Don't think it's going to be an overnight success. Yeah. I went to school for 5 years to get my degree and then had to spend a whole year on the job training to be a cytogeneticist, making $40 an hour, which is great. But that took technically 6 years of my life just to get to there. Whereas with my digital marketing chatbot agency, it took 18 months for me to be making over 3-5 times more than what I was making as a cytogeneticist. So
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Amazing. So good. All right. We are so stoked to have had you here. We will be back next week with more nuggets, more magic, more cake and awesomeness, maybe some muffins. Tamila has taken us inside the actual conference location. Oh my goodness gracious. We will see you in September, which I cannot wait.
Yes.
This has been so awesome. It is our absolute joy to be here supporting you to build out more chatbot magic with Manychat. Go bring in some results. Give Mackenzie a giant fireworks show with all the likes and the hearts.
Thank you so
we'll see you
much.
next.
Thanks, guys.